Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jon Myer Podcast. Now, today's topic is the challenges of FinOps in a true multi cloud environment. Wait, there's more than one cloud? Well, our guest today is Dmitry, who's the CEO and founder of Emma. Dmitry, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me.
Well, Dimitri, before I jump into it, I got to tell everybody, you guys are going to be at reInvent this year. You have booth number 1382. You're doing demos. Anybody that does a demo gets a $100 exam voucher for any of your major cloud providers. Wait a second. There's multiple clouds?
Yes, there are multiple clouds.
Dmitry, let's talk about it because FinOps in a single cloud provider is, I don't want to say tough. I mean, there's our challenges of implementing, the FinOps, the framework into just a single cloud provider. But now when you're adding another cloud or multiple clouds into this mix, it gets really challenging to visually see all of these clouds, the cost, the usage.
Yes, I mean, definitely. With a single cloud, it is already complicated, right? When you add more clouds, you add more complexity. So you end up with the complex cost structures, different data silos. There are a lot of visibility issues. You have different managed services. You always face with the inconsistent policies and different practices. So yes, we can say it is a complete mess.
Dimitri, when I look at multi cloud, do people really do multi cloud by choice?
Oh, some of them they do multi-cloud by choice, but some of them don't. So basically, multi-cloud appears in your life differently. Sometimes you acquire a company, and this company has a different setup, different cloud environment, and you acquire the company because of the business metrics, not because of the cloud service providers they use. Sometimes you choose a cheaper cloud service provider for your testing environment or for the testing purposes, or like a sandbox. Sometimes you want to be like super reliable and you want to avoid any disasters, possible disasters, right? That happens sometimes. So, I mean, people they find themselves quite often in a multi-cloud reality, um, because it just falls from the sky. So, I mean, they just get there.
When I look at multi cloud and how it actually happened for a number of companies, is either A, they selected one cloud provider to start with, while they might acquire a company that's using a different cloud provider, or maybe there's an engineer that wanted to play with a new tool in another cloud provider, but the current cloud doesn't offer that. What happens now is that I have cost in one cloud, I have to associate cost in another cloud, I have to speak the same language from one cloud to another.
Mhm.
Engineers need to understand multiple clouds, and to be honest with you, you can be a generalist in multiple clouds, you can't be an expert in multiple clouds when it comes to engineering and the capabilities.
That is true. Uh, all the customers we work with and all the prospects we usually talk to, uh, none of them ever told us that they wanted to be multi-cloud. Moreover, the majority of these organizations they don't see like themselves in a multi-cloud environment, and they think the multi-cloud is way too complicated because of the reasons you just mentioned. But every one of them they want to be agnostic, so they want to leverage one provider against the other provider. They want to decide which best of breed tool from a specific cloud service provider they want to use. So they want their freedom back, and they want to manage the cloud environments the way they want. And it's not necessarily should be like a comprehensive multi-cloud environment. It should be just a kind of a like agnostic approach where they can um, pick different services and manage them properly in the environments they think they are suitable or capable to manage these workloads.
Dimitri, what really distinguishes the FinOps practice in a multi cloud environment from just having one cloud or a single setup?
As I said before, so it is more about the complex cost structures. So there are different discounts, there are different billing cycles, there are different pricing models. Uh, each and every cloud service provider they use different tools, different they provide you with a different methods to monitor the workloads, and there are also like a third party solutions. And again, so there are a lot of problems, and you need to get really high skilled professionals in your organization to be able to manage this variety of the environments you have implemented in your organization. So I think it is a comprehensive problem. Say.
I love that you touched on the different billing cycles because that's something I actually haven't heard. Because we'll talk like AWS that gets released in the first, then it gets reevaluated through the 7th and 10th. You finally get your bill, whatever it is. I'm not sure of AWS's billing cycle, but now you have to take into account the billing cycle for one, the other, and reconcile each of them during a certain time, and your window to reconcile could be 7 days before your next bill's out. And I only talked about two. There are other cloud providers out there, GCP, Alibaba, that are all out there, and they have their own billing cycles.
Yes, that's true. And you should never forget that there are also the data centers with a colocation where you host your bare metal servers, and that's a different story. So, and there are also this like another providers that helps you to interconnect this different environments, and they have another billing cycles. So, I mean, yes, that's really hard to manage. And when you're acting as a FinOps practitioner, you should keep this information in mind, and you should leverage this information for the good of your company.
How important are skill sets and knowledge around having multiple clouds versus a single cloud? I can be an expert in the one cloud, and that's why I became a FinOps practitioner and I worked it. And then all of a sudden, you added me a new one, and crap, now I need to understand the language, the term, and all about this new one, but I'm overwhelmed dealing with this first
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that's true. So there are always several approaches, right? So you can either hire more people, high skilled professionals like you, to deal with the different environments, and then you need somehow to merge the outcomes and to analyze that, like to build something internally that will help you to manage properly the different environments. Or you can, for example, go with the FinOps tools, right? FinOps platforms or cost management platforms or cloud management platforms. Uh, these platforms usually provide you with a unified dashboard where you can connect all your existing cloud accounts, including like the on-premises environments, and they usually have agents pre-deployed, or you need to deploy an agent, or they use an API to export the data and reflect that on the fancy dashboards. But at the end of the day, these organizations, they try to streamline the way the organizations interact with the different cloud service providers and the way they get the insights from the FinOps standpoint of view. So you can choose either way, but at the end of the day, so uh, even with the third party solutions, it is quite hard to get the comprehensive information on real costs that you really have in your infrastructure, because managed services, they are way too complicated, and sometimes, for example, if you're dealing with Lambda, you don't even know how many compute instances Lambda uses in AWS and how much money do these instances cost you. So again, it is a complicated thing.
Dimitri, let's stay on the FinOps tools because that actually opens a bunch of doors and a bunch of questions that I have for you. When we look at the traditional FinOps tools, how are some of them falling short when managing costs against, various platforms, providers, and beyond the environments of the major hyperscalers?
So when we're talking about the traditional FinOps tools, so normally they are limited actually in interoperability with the different APIs, integrations, and data availability. So they often designed to use this tool with a single cloud, and they struggle to, as I said before, they struggle to aggregate this information, they struggle to dig deeper into the cost structure. So that's the first and the major point, I think. Then, of course, comes the lack of a flexibility for the cost saving features. So many tools, they miss out and an actionable insight. So basically, what we call actionable FinOps or cost-saving mechanisms. So which are quite unique to each and every cloud service providers. So, for example, in AWS you have reserved instances, or in Google Cloud you have a committed use discounts. So again, these tools, they cannot deal with this different types of the unique mechanics that the cloud service providers offer. And again, so there are a lot of blind spots with the smaller providers, and all these tools, they are quite um, straightforward. They do not like work, and they do not dig deeper into the details how the cost is really structured with the specific cloud service providers or with the number of the cloud service providers. So it is really hard for them, and it is like really important when they look into the behavior of your existing workloads. They never suggest you, okay, so we see that there is a pattern at AWS, we recognize this pattern, and we think that this pattern suits better for GCP. And if you, for example, switch or migrate into the GCP environment, you can reduce your cloud bill by 30%. So they never do this.
Dmitry, a couple of points that you put on there. One is that most of the tools were designed for one cloud provider in mind, and they expanded onto it. They said, oh my gosh, now we need to add another one. We need to increase it. We've tapped out here. People are using not only multi-cloud, or they want the visibility. MSPs would love a product with multi-cloud kind of visibility for their FinOps. The other part is you said the word adapt. And when I think about adapt, in the key in the context is that for AWS, you're using X, Y, and Z, reserved instances, spot instances. But if you were able to kind of adapt to the environment, you might be better off in GCP. You might look at it in Azure. You can actually have full and complete visibility across multi-clouds.
Yep. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So yes, this is how it works today. And yeah, so again, you start with a single cloud, and normally all these tools that started with a single cloud. Uh, if you look at this amazing organizations on the marketplace, so they normally start with the bigger cloud service provider, and then they expand. And I mean, uh, as I said, it is really hard to this for these tools to provide you with a comprehensive support, because this comprehensive support requires the the mechanisms that would allow you, first of all, to look into the other available options on the marketplace, and then in case you're interested in, they would support your decision with the exact actions. So with exact actions, and this is important. So you just like, I don't know, you drag and drop your infrastructure from cloud A to cloud B, because there is a tool that supports your decision with the data. This is important.
The other thing I think some of the FinOps tools lack out there for multi-clouds, not a single cloud. Like if I just wanted to focus on one, there's some great FinOps tools for just a single cloud. The other thing that I would like to say, and I would like your feedback on, is in a multi-cloud, when you look at it, it doesn't take into accountability new or innovative ways that are released from the cloud providers, new instances, new types, new functionality, new cost savings methods. And now you need to stay up to date, not only on one, but multi-cloud. And I love it. You know what? We should take a tally on how many times we say multi-cloud in this conversation.
Yeah.
But would you agree with me that they can't stay up to date on some of the cutting edge, some of the increased technology that comes out there, and how to utilize it?
So basically, all these tools, they use the APIs that cloud service providers offer. They are open, so everyone can use these APIs to get an information about the availability of the resources. The problem is that when you decide to launch something, quite often this resource is already taken, or for example, it's never been there, because they have it in their catalog, but you cannot actually confirm before you start like using this instance or trying to use this instance that this instance really exists. So that's why different organizations who work in the space, they try to buy the volume of the instances, or like pre-order the reserved instances so they can serve their customers. But again, so yes, you're partially right, I would say. So it's really hard to commit on something that, for example, these all of these hundreds of thousands of instances, they are always available 24/7, even if you see them available through the API. So it's not a problem to get them listed, but it is a problem to get the confirmation from the service providers that this instance exists, and you can actually spin up this instance whenever you want.
Do you feel that there's some lack of flexibility with some of the FinOps tools out there and utilizing different cloud providers?
Yeah, I mean, I know this. I don't feel this. I know this because we always try to look at the marketplace, and we always try to work with the different partners, and we always evaluate these different tools. And yeah, I mean, they are not that flexible, so they are definitely better than the native FinOps tools that cloud service providers they offer. Um, Otherwise, there won't be a big market for these tools. So they are definitely better. But on the other hand, as we said multiple times already, so they started with a single cloud, and they've done a great job there. But all the other cloud service providers, they added them because of, I don't know, whatever reasons. They are investors, they asked them, they wanted to expand, they wanted to acquire more customers, but they completely forgot, unfortunately, that the quality of the second and the third and the fourth integration should remain at least at the same level, even maybe higher. So yes, there is a lack of flexibility. As I said, it is important to be able to move the workloads. It is important to stay flexible. It is important to get the real agnostic insights. Like, okay, guys, if we understand that the cloud, it is too expensive for you, you gotta, at a certain stage, you gotta move on prem, or you gotta start repatriation into the bare metal servers and get rid of these cloud managed services that you use. So none of these tools does this.
Providing complete and full visibility into multi-cloud. Hi, everybody. You're watching the Jon Myer Podcast, and we're actually talking with Dmitry, who's the CEO and founder of Emma. And our topic today is challenges of FinOps in a true multi-cloud environment. Dmitry, let's talk about governance. What governance hurdles arise when operating across multi-cloud providers with different compliancy and regulations, and how it relates to cost management standards?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, John. So first of all, there are different compliance standards. So basically, each cloud service provider has a unique compliance protocols, and I mean, it is really challenging to enforce and uniform governance and the policies across all these environments. So that's, I think, the major point. Secondly, I mean, siloed cost and usage data across the clouds also doesn't help here. So it also creates the visibility gaps. And I mean, the security is obviously a problem. So security, access challenges, all these, I don't know, EAMs, all these different types of a user management. Each cloud has different access controls and monitoring capabilities. It is super complicated to get a centralized governance model that would suit all the different cloud environments.
What works in one cloud provider doesn't work in all cloud providers, but also you have to take into accountability the region that you're in, the location, the country, everything on there. You might not make a cost management decision on maybe this cloud provider because there are standards to the application that is a requirement, and then you can't do some automations behind it. I think one of the things you touch on, obviously security is huge, right?
Yeah.
Making this change, allowing this change, and taking into consideration where the cloud provider is hosting that data with data sovereignty regulations and everything, it's crucial. There's so much that it's very tough to have a standard across all cloud providers. While I may be able to do it for one and understand it, now I have to understand all of them.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, when you deal with the variety of different disconnected environments, these environments, they are not standardized. It is important. There is no standard that covers the cloud service provider space. So they implement the things the way they want, and they think they are important. And then you end up dealing with the variety of challenges in the security, in the compliance, in the governance, and it becomes even harder because the next topic that normally arises, this like sovereign cloud, or you want to stay within a specific region, but you want to stay agnostic, and you want to leverage all the clouds, and again, so it's complexity on top of a complexity.
You either end up with a tight and very secure environment with limited capability, or you get annoyed and it just becomes lax. And now, while this cloud provider might be tight, this one's really lax, and now you just have a median for everything, which causes a lot of problems, a lot of security concerns.
Yep.
And now you're trying to, in the FinOps methodology, is to actually handle not only the cost of the environment, but the security in the environment. It's very complex.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And you can also end up with the variety of tools, disconnected tools, by the way, to manage the different aspects of your life, like FinOps tools, security tools, networking tool. We have a customer. They have 16 engineers. And they have two cloud service providers. 16 engineers. They use 36 different tools to manage these two environments with 16 engineers. I mean, that's crazy.
I spend all day going between tabs trying to figure out how I'm managing this and make this change. And if I made this change, do I need to go to this tool? First of all, when you add security on top of FinOps, obviously, Mary Hughes said it really good. If FinOps is, job zero, security is 0.5, it's really cool. Like it's been a huge quote of hers. And when you look at it, security and the changes that you do within FinOps, it's always going to be there. And why add the complexity?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Nobody knows, and nobody wants this complexity, but people, they realize, okay, they started to work with the FinOps tools, and then there is a manager who says, okay, guys, are we compliant to whatever regulation we have? And then, okay, we need something to become compliant. And then, okay, are we secured? And yes, we are secured now because we have, for example, the vault. And then there's another question, okay, but we have also like Azure, we also store our secrets there. Is there like a single tool that could manage these different vaults? And yes, I mean, nobody intentionally wanted to add these complexities, but when you manage the different environments, it's really hard to stay with a simple, single, comprehensive solution that will cover the different aspects of your cloud journey.
Dmitry, why is it important for FinOps tools to be cloud agnostic when you deal with a multi-cloud setup?
Yeah, so I would say it is important for FinOps tools to be independent, right? So cloud agnostic is a nice word, but it's more about like independency. So when you become independent, you get this unified cost visibility. So this approach, when you're independent or agnostic, helps you to get a consolidated view on all your costs, all your expenses across the different cloud service providers. With this like agnostic approach, you can implement the consistent policies, you can enforce them properly, you can improve this cost comparison we were talking about, and you can also reduce the overhead that you usually have in tools, as I mentioned, like 36 tools, 16 engineers to cloud service providers. Nobody wants to be in this situation, right? And yes, so these are the major um, bullet points why it is important for FinOps tools to be cloud agnostic or like independent when it comes to clouds.
When you reduce the complexity, when you reduce the friction, and you speak a common language for any type of cloud, it doesn't matter. What you do is you get enhanced security, cost savings, visibility, and happy engineers, happy FinOps practitioners.
That's true. That's, I think, is an important mission all these beautiful organizations aim to achieve. So yes, we want engineers to get rid of these boring tasks where they need to dig deeper into the details, trying to understand where each and every penny goes, instead of building the next AI super algorithm that would make our lives better. So yes, you're totally right.
Dmitry, I got to wrap things up, but the biggest thing that I actually want to take away is having a FinOps tool that is cloud agnostic or independent, as you indicated, that handles multi-cloud environment, is seamlessly easy, and provides less friction for practitioners is valuable, and I don't have 36 tools to manage it, right?
Yeah, correct. You're absolutely right.
Dmitry, reInvent's coming up. Emma's going to be there. I can't wait to actually meet you guys in person. We've been talking for quite a while with the team. There's a lot of cool things I'm going to share with everybody. What are you looking forward to?
It's a very first reinvent for our team, and we are super excited and happy to see all of you guys there. So you can visit our booth 1382 during the event. So we do office hours, we do demos, we give away the different I don't know, swag and exam vouchers, as you mentioned. And of course, a lot of other things will be happening there. So, yes, again, we're super excited. We've never been there. It's the first time we have such an experience. And yeah, looking forward.
You're going to absolutely love it. It's going to feel overwhelming. I'm going to give you some tips. One, the very first thing is hydrate. And the walking distance, what you might assume is around the corner, is not around the corner. And it will take you quite a while to get from place to place because you're going to run into so many people. You're going to stop and you're going to talk. Make sure you leave a lot of time for that. I'm going to leave everybody with this. First of all, you guys said you had a booth number 1382 at reInvent. If you get over there, you do a demo, you get a $100 exam voucher for any of the major cloud providers. And I got to share with everybody, so this is pretty cool. We actually have some customized Emma poker chips. There's about 300 of them that's going to go out, a nice little QR code. There's actually going to be some prizes. We're going to announce that in the next couple of days. The prizes that are going to be happening, you can win some cool stuff, some scratch off. If at anything, poker chips, Vegas. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and indeed. I love these poker chips. I would love to have one.
Well, you know what? This is yours. Then I'll save this specifically.
Yeah, I see. There's our logo. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I got like 300 of them, so there's boxes of it. They're all yours. Dmitry, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, John. Pleasure speaking.
Well, everybody, this has been the Jon Myer Podcast. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notify because we're out of here.